Hello, well, we're in Huddersfield on our ramble today. Welcome to Huddersfield. And we'll start off by revealing a little bit about the station here. Yes, even better than Farnworth Station. Yes, Huddersfield is not just any old station, sorry for the wind noise, but it is reckoned to be one of the 15 most beautiful stations in the world, believe it or not. And I kid you not on that. And there it is, face on in all its glory. Now, as you arrive in Huddersfield, it has to be said that the wonderful Victorian architecture hits you straight in the face as you walk out of the station, almost as far as the eye can see. And then greeting you outside the station is Sir Harold. Yes, Sir Harold Wilson, twice Prime Minister, 64 to 70 and 74 to 76, was born here in Huddersfield, along with Gordon Kay from Allo Allo, but I don't know if there's a connection there. One of the gargantuan mills or former mills that greets you when you arrive in Huddersfield. People have a habit of knocking the town, but whatever they say about it, the actual, as you can see, the lovely architecture just mows you down. It's incredible. I mean, they've even got a Teletubbies restaurant, Lala's. What more could you want? And Lion Chambers takes itself very seriously. Roar. I mean, it's fair to say that the detail on this wonderful building, I mean, just look at it. You don't get them like that anymore. I think it's actually been a long time since I've seen so many restaurants congregated in one area, including Lala's we've just passed by. Another one here, La Ranchito. And then just up here out of sight you've got the Godfather. There's a sham spice. I'm sure there's a real spice further up the road. And a kebabish. There's an ice cream place which proves that what I do is right. Look, waffle works. Aha. A Nando's beside that. A German doner kebab. And yes, you've seen the yellow arches. There's a McCholesterol as well. And among all the restaurants, yes, are we ready? Everybody, 1, 2, 3. It's a Wetherspoons, hooray! As expected, the banks are quite fine. And then Westgate House, very unusual. That houses Bronx. Bus going past, which continues the theme here, looking a little bit Shakespearean, this house. And then just sweep after sweep of wonderful old Victorian buildings. And if we look down here, we can see little arcade, Byram Arcade. And a nice little arcade it looks too. Quick nosy of the arcade, let's have a quick look. Oh, shops upstairs, very nice too. It's actually got an air of Budapest about it, of all things. And we've even got the Jules Verne. Yes, journey to the centre of the Huddersfield. And although I didn't come this way from the station, this one is called Station Street. I know I've only arrived, but this is called Westgate and it leads out of the town. But just look at this, it's absolutely fantastic. The detail. And then Station Street itself with the station in the background. Well, we've had our day half made by finding a Wetherspoons, and now we've got our Z at the end of the word of the day, lads. Oh, how wonderful. And there's a clash of the titans with regards to architecture. The middle of Standard House seems to be Victorian, but there seems to be some sort of other thing on the top and down below. I have to confess I've not seen many crowns. Oh look, they've got Sky and TNT. That must be quite explosive. Let's get the cozy. If you don't get the cozy, you get Cosa Nostra. That's the mafia gang. It's not saying this is anyway mafia orientated. Just leg pulling. This is not just any old accountant. This is W&S accountant. Oh, and never mind, sorry, lost. I'm leaning on the post box at the corner of the street. Yeah, this is an extremely short post box. Look at it. Very short. Some lovely, well-kept detail here on this lovely building. Nice balcony up there for Rapunzel to let her hair down. The detail is just delightful. From what I can see looking in, it seems to be in a state of change, so to speak. Nobody in any of the offices. Although the end of the building just seemed to have some solicitizers. Well, as I've been wandering down the streets of Huddersfield, minding my own business, with the change in legislation tomorrow banning disposable vapes, I've been approached by 3 different gentlemen standing outside 3 different shops, offering me a great big handful for a tenner. So plainly they intend to keep the rules. I assume they do. It's unusually one of the first towns where it's just Victoriana after Victoriana after Victoriana, as far as the eye can see in some cases. The White Swan seems to be a rather ghostly sort of greyish green. And it wouldn't be right if we didn't get in the Huddersfield Parish Church. Yeah. Somewhat unusual coloration to the bricks, I might add. And a nice impressive clock tower, flag flying, clock correct. Well, we've nipped into Huddersfield Parish Church and it is just absolutely lovely. You know my fascination with buildings and churches. And what I've managed to do is, I'm going to have a chat in a second with Mike, because he knows all about this and what's going on. But isn't this just, look at it, it's lovely. A lot of work and effort has gone in to restore the building and it's got great history. It goes back, he just briefly told me before I started to have a chat that it goes back centuries and centuries and centuries. So let's have a quick little chat and Michael explain to us a little bit about the history. Right, folks, here we are with Mike. He's here on my left. I think it's probably on your right when you look at it. Over to Mike. He's going to tell us just a little bit of the history of this wonderful church.
Okay. Well, I'm recently was church warden until 2023 here and researched the history of the place for a heritage lottery bid. The building here dates back to 1836, but it was built up from materials from the second church, which was consecrated in 1503. So it's an ancient building, but it's been repurposed effectively, and all the stone and the woodwork that they could has been reused. Our font is the oldest dated item in the building and dates back to 1571 and has the coat of arms of Elizabeth I on it.
So many years ago,
yeah. It was found in the old churchyard. The Georgian font is now in someone's garden, in a garden in Huddersfield, but it still exists, but we now have the Elizabethan font back in place.
Wonderful.
We have spent probably £1.2 million on restoring this building, and we're now into instead of being in a maintenance phase for the building, we're on a missional phase, and we are determined as a church to look after our town centre community.
Quite right too.
This gentleman has popped in to one of our working days for the church community.
And it is, I promise you it is. They're busy.
We're polishing the life out of our brass. But we're also running a welcome centre effectively for some of the underprivileged and the relative poor of our town, and we're doing tea and toast on a Saturday morning on a regular basis. And in the winter time, a hot soup kitchen is run as well as part of our mission to the people of Huddersfield.
Oh, thank you for taking the time out, because I know you were so busy, and your poor lady wife out there with her gloves on and tying up her clematis.
My better half is doing the gardening outside.
Thank you so much. You're a star.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome. Very welcome.
And just outside the parish church we've been in is a lovely little green area. Absolutely beautiful. Going to have a little bit of a nosy at Huddersfield Open Market. This makes me laugh though. We've got Dugdale Brothers. Anybody who's a Monty Python fan will remember, what was it? I can't remember the Doug and Dinsdale Piranha Brothers, who were quite happy to nail people's heads to coffee tables. And post office with, it's not currently open from this side, but with, hey, 4 telephone boxes. But again, lovely building. Little bit of a Triffid stall there, but not as many stalls in the open area as one might expect. But then perhaps maybe by open market they mean, I've just seen the real market here. Let's go and have a quick look. And as you can see, rather traditional, typical town market. And it looks quite busy, which is, I must say, a delight to the heart to see lots of people running around and everybody just buying things and doing other such things. I'm talking rubbish now, so I'll shut up. Very traditional looking market building. And it's bric-a-brac day. I have to be very careful wandering around this particular market because it's a collector's fair. Old bric-a-brac and collectibles, and there's some wonderful stuff I've seen, but no, I have to keep the wallet in the pocket. Oh dear, I need to be ashamed of myself. I came for a look around Huddersfield and I've spent an hour in the bric-a-brac market that was on. Mind you, I did manage to get hold of a Instamatic 177X Kodak camera, and you might wonder why I wanted to get such a camera, but I collect Kodak only cameras, and that's one of the Instamatics that was missing. And then I got a high-speed charger for this phone thing, and yes, dreadful. I always tend to get what they call flea market constipation. I can't pass a flea market. Well, there's an unusual name, Friendly Street, and it's got a camera. And well, not really much else, so yeah, not wonderfully friendly. And here on Northumberland Street, it seems there's the old Mechanics Institute, which is now turned into creative lofts, whatever they are. I presume it's apartments, so let's not be smart aleck about it. And just in the distance you can see the arches there of the Huddersfield Stadium. I ignorantly say Huddersfield Stadium because I'm assuming it's probably football, and unfortunately I know as much about football as I do about quantum mechanics. It's quite an interesting building belonging to the university, and then beside it, it wouldn't be the same if we didn't spot a Leviathan. What an ugly thing. And a nice little sweep of typical Yorkshire stone houses, ending in the Vulcan Inn, traditional inn, which I don't think has anything to do with either a bomber or Mr. Spock. And I just thought I'd slip that in as a nice pleasant abode. Postcode lottery might have difficulty here. Someone's knocking on the grill. At the esteemed cleaners, I've just noticed someone's got a fascination for old irons in the same way as I have a fascination for old Kodak cameras. And this is on the A62, the main road out and in, and this is just typically Yorkshire stone, Tomlinson's Yard, but the buildings are just typically, as I say, Yorkshire stone and quite pleasant. Oh dear, just spotted a traditional proper Chinese supermarket, and I think that's going to relieve me of some more money now. Yes, couldn't resist, had to go into Dong Dong and got some lovely wasabi sauce and a little bit of MSG, which honestly just use a small pinch and it does spice up your soups, but only ever so small a pinch. That's potentially the thinnest building in Huddersfield, I don't know. Very unusual. And then across the road we've got the Bull's Head Hotel, no longer bulling or heading or even hoteling. And as you can see, always just the Victorian architecture sticking out like a sore thumb. Among some of the more modern monstrosities, we seem to have Cleopatra's Lounge. And opposite Cleopatra's Lounge, we have the Huddersfield Hotel and Capone's, which dates back, the building does anyway, as you can see, interesting building, to 1881. And it seems that Capone's is a speakeasy bar. And oh look, Hottle Apartments, how wonderful. Have you been to a Hottle Aparts? It may be a pizzeria, but I think you might have to pronounce it differently in terms of, well, no, let's not go there, that's rude. This time a council car park, Oldgate car park, welcoming just 10 cars, and 2 of those are for electric charging and a couple are for disabled spaces. So once again, councils charging people a fortune to run their cars when they already pay road tax. Goodness me, they're going for broke here. Look at the size of this thing. And it's got stuff in it. Blimey, heavens. I better run. As we wander down, I've just spied Batty's building up there. And of course, Last of the Summer Wine and Nora Batty, that was filmed just up the road in Holmfirth. Say what you like about Huddersfield, but they've kept the architecture within, generally speaking, within acceptable bounds. Some of the old famous Yorkshire mills in the background. This part of the town caught my eye mainly because of this unusual building, which it seems is part of the university. And quite a big one it is now. Right, the lunchtime bell is ringing. I think it's time for a quick cuppa. And then what I must do is I have to go and try and find the town hall, which I'm sure is an easy thing to do because the town hall is meant to be a force of architecture or a tour de force to be reckoned with. And I don't like missing things that need to be reckoned with. Yes, opposite the retail complex, we seem to have stumbled across the university. This is the middle of the campus. And sorry for the noise of the wind, but it seems relatively quiet, as I'm sure you can see, because it's Saturday and the students aren't studenting. And there's Student Central, presumably containing the Union of Hate, National Union of Students. May they disappear down their rabbit hole one of these days. And Her Dear Majesty visited, as you can see from the date. I have a suspicion she would have preferred a cup of tea and a sandwich rather than unveiling a piece of stone on quite a windy campus. This appears to be the Laura, well, it's not appears, it is the Laurie Annie Wilson Building, Computing and Engineering Research Facilities. Actually, talking of computing, not many people realize this, but a lady called Karen Jones, she is from Huddersfield, and you might say, oh, who's Karen Jones? Well, Karen, she was working quite detailed during her lifetime on the inverse document frequency. What's that, you say? Well, without that, you'd have no internet search engines if she hadn't been successful. So now you know. Oh, and also must tell you why we're on the subject of education and university. Simon Armitage also hails from Huddersfield, and he has been the Poet Laureate. So there you go. Also, James Mason comes from here, the actor. Not from the university, but from Huddersfield. He was born here. Oh, and another call out to somebody famous, a chap called Vivek Murthy, M-U-R-T-H-Y. He became the 19th Surgeon General of the United States. He was born here in Huddersfield. No, not in the university, in Huddersfield. Oh, and memories just come back to life. A gentleman called Gregory Doran. He has been acclaimed as being the most prolific and best Shakespearean director of his generation, which is still at the moment because he was born, I think it was in 1958. Just trusting my memory there. The Institute of Railway Research down there. Must get them to work on the timetables one of these days. Sorry, being facetious. And then we've got the Joe Cox More in Common Centre. I presume that's to commemorate the murder of the MP, Joe Cox. And of course, not only just a architecture fan, but I do like a bit of greenery around it. Look, a little bit of lavender and other stuff. And very nice looking. Actually, I must be honest, I did steal a rosemary cutting. Not a lady called Cutting and her first name Rosemary, but a rosemary plant cutting, which I use a little bit of rooting powder on, planted it in a pot, and it's all set to go to grace my lamb at some stage. Well, it's only young yet, but it has taken, which is very unusual for me because the only reason I've got green fingers is I tend to kill green things. There's another former mill, and quite a big one it is too. I don't know if you can see just down here, it goes on unbelievably big. And there we are, just to give you an idea of how big the campus is here at Huddersfield University thereof. Let's have a quick look at this, what they've done to this mill. Oh, there's an interesting looking building, modern one. Goodness me, this is, yes, indeed a big one. Former mill goes on all the way down there. And I presume I can just see the locks there. It's called the Locks Building. I presume this must be, now I might be wrong, but I'm assuming this is the Leeds-Liverpool Canal. Yes, this is all quite impressive, but in my humble, for all the wrong reasons. I'm judging by the little things inside there. You probably can't see them, sheep type thingies, that this is something to do with the arts. Walking around the other side, I've just discovered that the thing with things all around it, pardon my technical description, is the Barbara Hepworth building. And of course, she was an artist of some description, I think. And then I presume we can slip down by the canal onto the path here and walk back into the centre of the town. Let's give it a go. Never say die. Just say trip up on the cobbles. Well, to say we're very near the centre of the town, this is very, very pleasant. Made all the better by the lovely sunshine. Although I have to say there is quite a windy wind, not a biting wind, but a windy wind out today. And this is something called Bates's Tunnel, where they seem to insist that only one narrowboat at a time goes through in one direction only. Well, I thought that would have been rather self-evident. I presume the other is just the entrance notice to the tunnel, because that seems to be a proper tunnel there going underneath the buildings. Still not for me, thank you. So we've just come up from down there and come out here to yet another of Huddersfield's, I suppose you might say, as they say on the continent, one of its emblematic mills of old. And this one is the Fairfield Mills from, let's go and have a look at the date. Gosh, 1855. And I promised some friends I'd never say that was almost 7 o'clock. One does have to smile at the creativity of this. There we go, typical mill building chimney. And then as we walk up the street here, we can see we've got, in competition with the university, Kirklees College. It's very hard to give you a sense of scale of these buildings, but I mean, this one was 1940, and I'd imagine maybe, constructed to do something with the war, Second World War, but they really are enormous. And it's not just Wilmslow where we discovered a mere 3 parking spaces, but here as well. 3 parking spaces, middle of nowhere, pay to park. Such absolute parasites. And of course, yes, there we go. Car parking solutions. Solutions guarantees that if you have a problem, you won't get anything out of them. I don't know if you've noticed that a lot of these scammers who phone up with sort of debt, pension, and, you know, accidents you haven't had, and these sort of things, they're all called, sorry for the noise, they're all called companies with the name Solutions in. And I wonder when the scammers will suddenly realize that once you see the name Solutions, it means, uh-oh, don't touch. Flats available now. No, I think I'll pass, thank you. The Rat and Ratchet, I just love the name. Oh, they've got their own brewery as well. It was a bit stop-start, but it seems they're back in business again. Excellent. Well, Renaissance works, just depends how you use it. And this is New Street, one of the lower end of the town pedestrian precincts. We have the concrete carbuncle on one side of New Street, leading over to the incredible building that was once a Wilko, probably one of the largest, and a terrific clock tower that is not showing the correct time because plainly when Wilko left, they switched off the lights behind them. And the electricity, of course. Right, let's go and find the town hall. At least the county court has something about it in terms of architecture and a big blue van in front. And there we are, one town hall in Huddersfield. And a mighty building it is too. Lovely looking building. Look at the bit at the top there. A little bit of a crow's nest, presumably for traffic wardens to look out from and spy errant parkers. A bit of a modern thing beside the town hall. And then on the other side, this fine looking church. And that lovely old building in the distance. It's across the road from the town hall, but in a little bit in the distance. They're building this thoroughly monstrous thing. Now, it's only the bare bones, but it's in between two wonderful sets of buildings. I have to be honest, it's a complete mystery when they put a carbuncle up in between two fine Victorian buildings. I just don't get it. Another twee advertising marketing slogan, where great places start. Oh, I tell you one thing, that needs to be given the boot. I've led you all astray. Methinks what I thought was the town hall is not the town hall. It's the Ramsden building and part of the University of Huddersfield. I really must have a quick look at Mr. Googly Olio's maps and see where the town hall is, because it's meant to be worth a visit. Looking a little worse the wear, although could have been something pretty good in its former days. And beside what once presumably was an official establishment is the very famous Lawrence Batley Theatre, looking all very resplendent and regal and Victorian and townhousey. It would appear the building I panned from, thinking it was the town hall, to the building I panned to via the new carbuncles they're putting up, is in fact the town hall, and I didn't realise. So we'll try and head off there now because time's marching on and we need to start thinking about returning home. Yeah, I've not had a cup of tea or a sandwich. This is incredible. I must be losing stones or kilograms or whatever. Just discovered Market Avenue. Looks very quaint, just off the pedestrianised thoroughfare. Aha, we have found it. Hip hip hooray. Lovely lions with shields. And let's stand back and have a better look. Sun sadly in the wrong direction. I mean, quite impressive, but I wouldn't have thought as impressive as the building I mistook as being the town hall in Huddersfield. And then in close proximity to all these lovely buildings, this one here on top of old Wilko is this thing. Yes. The name on the shop sums it all up. This is the top end of High Street, and while I was attracted to, yes, you've guessed, cuts with a Z, while I was attracted to that, I missed this. Here's an old building going to rack and ruin, with very austere gentlemen looking down over the windows. I don't know if you can see them there, they're a bit soot covered, but interesting balustrades at the top, quite interesting. I do hope they repurpose, awful new word, just do it up and use it. And then we go down to High Street down here, which is probably one of the few high streets where there's nothing really much high going on because they're building at the bottom. So as you can see, mid-afternoon we've got King Street and, oh, I missed that building above Vision Express. Interesting. We've got King Street and then that leads to New Street, which goes all the way up with plenty of shopping for people. And then we've got Cloth Hall Street, goes to more. And then if we continue down New Street, you can just see where we came from before as we left, coming in from the station. And then you get these little places hiding away. This one, it seems, is called the Camel Club. It must have given several people the hump. I think one does have to question that. Maybe they were told to hop it. Well, that's it. See those things behind me? I don't know what they are, but thank you very much for watching. I'm heading off back now. I had one of those days where I was waylaid a lot, so I do hope my waylaying by others didn't make the video too dull and boring. As I say, the architecture makes up for everything in Huddersfield, and chatting with the people at the Parish Church was very enlightening. So, yes, I'm heading off now, and thank you very much for watching. So, see you next time.